I came home the day after work and I cut on the news. And usually I don't watch the news because, I'm going to be honest, it's a little depressing. I got enough shit, going on just when I walk outside of my door. So, I do understand those who, don't really care to watch the news, but at the same time, you got to know what's going on in the world. So I turned on the news, checked it out for a minute. I see them talking about this baby who was 1 year old that got shot in the face in Compton. And they were saying how, the parents were inside the garage and they had made the garage into a living room. I don't know if people do that in other states, but in California, especially in LA, you got a lot of people who will, set up little living rooms in the garage, like for football, Sunday or whatever, or, just to kind of have like kind of a man cave, stuff like that. And baby was in the crib, mother was fixing the bottle for the kid. Next thing they know, they hear gunfire, and one of the bullets or a couple of bullets went inside the garage and ended up, hitting the baby. The baby lost his life, at 1 year old. And they were saying that, the evidence or whatever, or the evidence that they've gathered already, it seems like it's, a gang issue or, it's some type of gang retaliation or whatever. And, I just got to shaking my head, like, this is fucked up, A 1 year old child, wasn't even walking yet, won't get to experience, first times, like driving a car or, your first day in high school, your first day going to school in general, your first kiss. Won't be able to experience those things because some asshole decided to come by and just start shooting for the hell of it. And there used to be codes to the streets. Back in the day when this street shit was going on or, gang banging or whatever, there was codes to the streets. You don't shoot innocent people, especially women, children, and senior citizens. That was a code of the street. If you did that, sometimes the own gang would deal with you. You end up dead. Because what that did is that brought chaos and even more terrorism to the community that was not needed. But see, what happened is that over time, a lot of the OGs and stuff, they neither dead now, they're in prison, or the ones that did survive all that, they forgot to drop the knowledge and the jewels on these young cats out here. So what's happening is that you got a lot of these guys that are out here with no conscience that would just shoot any and everything, not even thinking twice whether they're hitting a child, whether they're hitting an innocent bystander. All they know is that I want to shoot somebody. This is where I think they at, or I know they at, and I'm gonna just come by and just start shooting. And it's ridiculous, and it's really a form of terrorism. And I know a lot of people have threw out certain suggestions out here, as far as getting help within some of these communities. And this can happen anywhere across the country. We hear about what's going on in Chicago, or what's going on in LA or New York, or, certain parts of down south. Gang activity is everywhere. Violence is everywhere. And we've been hearing ideas about, maybe upgrading the police department as far as people joining the academy. I've heard the military coming in. I've heard, just the community as a whole coming together and pushing back on a lot of this stuff going on here, which has been one of my personal suggestions. But we really got to get a hold on, this gang banging bullshit that's going on, because a lot of lives, are being taken because somebody just decides to pull out a firearm and just start shooting, not caring who they hit. And the reason why I say I think the community should really stand up, the community has to become a gang. And what has to happen is that we got to have some brothers out here, or people within the community that's like, yo, if you come in our community, or we know you're doing random killings, or you out here gang banging, we gonna put your ass 6 feet in the ground. We are going to collect our evidence against you. We're going to have witnesses that know who you are, know what you're about, and we're going to put your ass behind bars. And that's what has to happen, because the LAPD don't give a damn about these communities, especially communities that have a high majority of quote-unquote minorities. They don't give a damn. They're going to get their check and their pension regardless. And that's why, I've always been an advocate of us in the community coming together, because we've done things like, sending the National Guard in, or upgrading the police departments. And I mean, I can't really speak too much for other places, but in LA, the shit caused even more terrorism, excuse me. I mean, these cats were coming in people's yards, busting through the door with goddamn tanks that they use in the military. You had innocent people who were being gunned down and beaten and killed off of the fact that the National Guard was in the community. You had police officers who had itchy trigger fingers that maybe one of their members was shot down or killed by somebody in the community. So now they want to go out there and they want to shoot down anybody. So I mean, we've seen that, and I've always been somebody who has been somebody about, let's stop doing the same thing we've been doing. If it's not creating change, or it's not really putting a nib in the situation, let's stop doing it. Let's come up with new, fresh ideas. And like I said, the community has to become a gang themselves. We got to start speaking up. We have to start taking control of our community, because these guys out here, it's no guys, not even any guidance from the street perspective. A lot of these guys come from broken homes. They just don't give a damn. There's lack of opportunities out here. And I can get a little bit deeper to what causes this, but I don't want to take too much of the attention off of the fact that, this young child was murdered, with senselessly. And it's sad. This happens all across the country. I mean, if these damn gang bangers want to shoot up shit, why don't you go join the army? I'm not really an advocate of, especially black folks joining the military or the army. But if you want to shoot up shit, go take your ass to the military. Go wear that uniform and go do what they want you to do. Don't come back to the same community you're from and terrorize it. And it's a big issue that we got going on all across America, and it really has to stop. And, the gang banging stuff, people nowadays don't really do drive-bys like that. I mean, it happens, but this is not something that, it's amped up like it was in the 90s when gang activity was going on. Drive-bys, people don't really do that too much. You might have, a little cat might see somebody somewhere and just start shooting, but drive-bys are not really done like that too much in LA. But, apparently they amping this shit up again. And, I did mention that the family had converted the garage into a living room. So this tells me that what could have possibly been happening is maybe they had an abundance of people who were living in their household, because a lot of times when you got a whole bunch of people living with you, the house gets cramped up and you need an outlet. So maybe they say, okay, well, we're going to make the garage a living room so that, the people who are staying with us, whether they're family members, friends, or whatever, there's another outlet so that it's not so congested in the house. And maybe the people that they were letting into their house had some heat around it, and that's why this situation happened. And, again, you got these dumbass gangbangers out here that have no conscience, don't think that, okay, I got heat on me. I got, these cats in the street that want to take me out. It might be a smart idea to stay away from your family, stay away from people that you care about, okay? And I know that, a lot of these gang members don't give a damn. If they can't get to you, they'll get to one of your family members. I understand that. I know the streets. I know how it goes down in L.A. But at the same time, it's like, don't bring that heat around an environment that heat doesn't need to take place in. Be smart. But these assholes out here, y'all gotta cut this bullshit out, man, because innocent people are being killed. Not just in L.A., but all across America. This shit has got to stop, and the community has to come together and start pushing back on a lot of this stuff. Because if we don't come together, or some cats gonna say, you know what, I'm tired of this, we're gonna amp up and we're gonna fight this gang shit that's going on in the community, nothing's gonna happen. And we have to create a certain bond that cannot be broken, because we seen what happened with the Detroit 300 when them brothers got together and said, you know what, we're going to stop a lot of this chaos that's going on in our community. You had a lot of black women attack that camp, or you had outside entities that say, you know what, we don't like the fact that these brothers are bonding together and they're doing so-called what the police are supposed to be doing, so we're going to try to dismantle it. Because anytime black folks come together for something positive, you always have outside influences trying to infiltrate the structure. They did it with the civil rights movement. They did it with the Black Panther Party, which we need to bring back. They did it with all different sources of forums that we tried to create for positivity to stop a lot of this chaos that's going on in the community. They even did it with, the gangs when they had the peace treaty back in the 90s when gangbangs was like, yo, this is bullshit. We need to stop it. You had LAPD officers riding around in known gang members' cars, shooting out of cars to amp this shit back up. So, we really got to get a hold of it, and we really got to come up with new ideas and be smart about, pushing back on a lot of this stuff out here, because it's got to stop. Unless, it might be your, child or your mother, your father that could be gunned down. And I tell you right now, somebody strike down somebody in my family, I'm hunting your ass down. I'm getting my firearm and I'm going to find you. You best believe that. I will find you. And I'm hunting your ass down. But the link will be in the description box. You guys want to read up on it. Man, let's get a hold of our communities before it's too late.